So in many ways, then there's no real answer to the human contradiction, maybe.
No, I mean this might sound a bit depressing, but I don't think that there is an answer. Then again, I think that thinking about these topics and also kind of becoming aware of how they maybe not on the surface, but a bit deeper, how they really play a part in a lot of things in our daily life. I think that it does make the picture a bit clearer, and at least for me, it's given me a lot to think about and a lot to digest. But also, I feel like my view upon the world kind of changed in a good way, because once you see kind of certain systems, it's always it's also a bit easier to find a way to respond to it, which fits your character at least. This is different for everybody how you want to deal with that, but yeah.
Well, when you started delving into this topic and into these things, was there also, maybe this is a stretch, but influenced by recent years where you saw with the Arab Spring that the hierarchy, I can't say the word, the structures of hierarchy were kind of set up in a way where it was unlivable for certain people, and they
well, there has been a lot of circumstances like over the year, and Arab Spring and a lot of recent movements actually show a great deal of people taking matters into their own hands, kind of with large groups, and this is something rather new. But of course, hierarchy in general, and hierarchy leading to negative systems is something of all times. So this was not. Of course, it is something that you kind of cannot get around. But it's not the first time that these things happen, and I guess that is the whole thing. None of these things. Also, when we were talking about the attack of Sophie Lancaster on our previous record. I mean, that's a tragic event. Even more tragic is the fact that it's not a one-time thing, that something like that happens. It's a structure. And this is what makes it scary, if you ask me, but yeah.
Well, you mentioned that you studied gender studies, and there was something. Maybe again, this could be a stretch, but when I read the song titles, there is "Your Body Is A Battleground," "My Masquerade," "Army of Dolls," and I saw it maybe as a reflection on the expectation of how maybe women or people should be.
Army of Dolls is really explicitly about that. It's really directly about objectification and the kind of standard that you're supposed to fit in order not even to be considered just perfect or pretty but just normal. And it's kind of. Also, this is nothing new, but within a normative society, I think that it puts a lot of pressure on people in general, and maybe especially girls. And this is something that was from direct personal experience, as I remember, even within the just one out of many examples, because of course the entertainment industry is kind of filled with these kind of expectations also. But when we were promoting "We Are the Others," a song about being able to be who you are, regardless of whether you kind of conform to whatever norm you feel is put upon you. Back when we were promoting that specific song, we did a photo shoot, and I got the photos back, and they photoshopped me half my size, and I was like, How stupid can you be to think that you can get away with a move like that when we are working on a song, which is about being okay with who you are? So yeah, I made a big riot, and I got my own legs back and everything. But these are really the type of things where it can get so annoyed with, because for me it's kind of an annoyance, and it is really I think it's really frustrating to see, and also to hear the comments that I got back then, which were really in the vein of, you know, if you say that we cannot Photoshop your body, you will get a problem with your label. So we're not with that label anymore, but you know, these kind of things where I think like, oh man, you know, people think that these things happen, you know, in beauty magazines and stuff, but we're in a, you know, we're doing metal. We're like in a genre, in a niche, doing something, and you know, even there it's that bad. So, so yeah, kind of Army of Dolls is kind of, you know, dedicating to that strange norm and dedicated to crushing it, basically. Yeah.
Well, I was maybe in metal, it is a very male-dominated scene, I would think. So does that play with the expectations that people have of you as well?
No, I don't think that it matters so much, and I think actually that metal is one of the scenes where, you know, I think it's probably worse in pop music. I think it's... I like to think that metal is a little bit less focused on appearance, that, you know, since, you know, most metalheads, and, you know, whether they are, you know, whether they like to listen to the genre or whether they like to play it, most metalheads that I know were kind of, you know, kind of the outcasts when they were in high school and that kind of stuff. So, so I don't expect this to be the worst scene, but still it's that bad. So, you know, you can only imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get back to the music. I've read that it was said about this album that it's also the heaviest album that you have done to date. Was there any particular reason for this?
You know, basically when we start writing, we always aim to have the biggest riffs and to have the heaviest sound. So I don't know exactly why this time it came out differently than during our other productions. It could have something to do with the fact that we, you know, that during the writing process we kind of took matters back into our own hands, and that, yeah, basically this is what we do when that happens. But also I think that the production is very, very heavy, and we've had the album mixed at Fredman Studios, which is kind of a legendary metal production team, and then we had it mastered by Ted Jensen, who's won Grammys for about any big artist that you can imagine, and a lot of my very favorite records as well. So I think it's a combination of factors, but yeah, those things probably helped.